The 82 season is remembered for a variety of reasons. For some, it is the last year of life for their idol Gilles Villeneuve. For some, it is the season with the largest number of different winners. It is a year with tragic accidents which left a big mark in history. It actually starts with a lot of good premises. 1980 champion Alan Jones leaves, replaced at Williams by Keke Rosberg, who joins 1981 runner-up Carlos Reutemann. Niki Lauda also returns after 2 years, joining John Watson in McLaren. Ferrari and Renault retain their lineups. Villeneuve and Pironi for the prancing horse, Arnoux and Prost for the French manufacturer. Reigning champion Nelson Piquet remains with Brabham alongside Riccardo Patrese. The fact that it's a special year can be understood right away. Indeed, on the first race, there is a lot of controversy. Believe me, this is all true. The drivers go on strike. One of the most bizarre scenes in the history of Formula 1. The drivers' union is in strong disagreement, led by Lauda, Pironi and Villeneuve, with the motorsport federations of FISA and FOCA. They do not approve Article 58, which limits the release of super licenses and prevents drivers from getting rid of contracts to sign with other teams. A serious problem, especially for Lauda, who in 1981 did not get any results and therefore does not meet the criteria for obtaining the super license. As the South African GP is meant to start, the drivers announce a strike. Pironi and Mas meet with the president Balestre, while the others lock themselves up in a hotel room. The negotiations do not go as planned, and Balestre threatens anyone to be excluded if they do not sign the agreement. Hardly anyone does. Indeed, the drivers set up a camp in the hotel lounge. They block the entrance to the hall with a piano and refuse to race. First practice is cancelled because nobody turns up. Only rookie Teo Fabi runs away, frightened by the possibility to miss the only chance of his life to race in Formula 1. At the end, Balestre is forced to abandon the new idea, but not after giving a fine to every driver. The race finally takes part. The front row is locked by the Renault of Arnoux and Prost, who lead the race after Villeneuve's engine blows up. With a margin of more than 1 minute on the Williams, the Renault have problems. Prost has a puncture and stops, then suffers another run and finds himself 8th and lapped. Arnoux, on the other hand, has big vibrations and is forced to slow down. With a great comeback, Prost unlaps himself and wins, in front of Reutemann and Arnoux. In Brazil, there is again a Renault show in qualifying, but Villeneuve overtakes everyone at the start and leads. Keke Rosberg, who had made a quick start too, tries to overtake them all during the first lap, but after moving past both Renaults, he wants to clear Villeneuve as well and goes off the track. The two Renaults are struggling. Piquet is now chasing Villeneuve, who makes a mistake in an attempt to defend and goes off, retiring. Piquet then wins on Rosberg at home and he faints on the podium. However, there's a twist. Piquet and Rosberg's cars are found underweight and they're both disqualified, giving the second consecutive victory to Prost, who leads the standings. In the United States, the pole is surprisingly for the Cesaris Alfa Romeo, who leads on Arnoux, Lauda and Giacomelli. The latter, trying to overtake the Austrian, takes out Arnoux and himself. Prost spins, Piquet hits the wall, the Cesaris car fails, and so Lauda wins over Rosberg and Villeneuve. Ferrari, however, who had launched the protest in Brazil, are this time a victim of the regulations and the Canadian is disqualified, giving the podium to Patrese. At this point in a heavily uncertain World Championship, spoiled by retirement, there is another twist. FOCA, an association that brought together the British manufacturers, boycotts the San Marino race in a protest to the decisions of the Brazilian GP. There are only 7 runners, Ferrari, Renault and Alfa Romeo above all. It is an exclusive duel between Renault and Ferrari. Arnoux leads the Italian cars and Prost, who retires early due to mechanical failure. The three engage in a long fight until Arnoux has a problem too. At that point, one of the most heated and famous controversies arise. Ferrari, with the absolute control of the race, display a sign ordering to slow down. Villeneuve, in the lead, lowers his lap times by more than a second, and Pironi overtakes. Thinking that the French driver only wants to make a spectacle for the crowd, Villeneuve overtakes him again with the fastest lap, and then lowers the pace once more. But on the last lap, Pironi overtakes the Canadian and wins the race. Villeneuve is furious. He violently attacks the Ferrari directors and vows never to talk to Pironi again, accusing him of stealing the victory. With this result, Prost remains firmly in the lead of the championship with 18 points. Lauda follows at 12, while Pironi moves up to 10, alongside third-placed Alboreto. The situation in Ferrari is tragic. Not only Villeneuve and Pironi are at an all-time low, but the Canadian tragically loses his life 2 weeks later. Following an accident in qualifying in Belgium, one of the most beloved drivers of all time dies, leaving a heavy void. Ferrari, as a consequence, also withdrew Pironi's car. Arnoux and Prost lock the front row, but the first one suffers an engine problem, while the second one drops behind. It's Rosberg who leads, for the first time in his career, but from behind comes John Watson, who puts pressure on him and forces to make a mistake. With just 2 laps to go, Keke ends up on the grass and is overtaken, giving victory to the McLaren driver. Lauda loses third place due to disqualification. A lot has happened already, but believe it or not, that's not the end. Monaco GP. Pole is again for Arnoux on Giacomelli, Patrese and Prost. Giacomelli abandons due to a mechanical problem. Arnoux spins and retires too. Everything seems to go smoothly up until lap 70. The first 4, Prost, Patrese, Pironi and the Cesaris, are within seconds of each other, until it starts to rain. On lap 74, Prost spins at the chicane and retires incredibly, losing a huge chance to go on the run in the World Championship. Patrese moves up first, but on the next lap he spins at the hairpin and the engine turns off. Pironi, who seemed to be destined for victory, takes the lead, but on the last lap his car breaks down under the tunnel. It would be the Cesaris race. It would be, in fact, because the Alfa Romeo driver is also sided without fuel. Derek Daly, Reutemann's substitute at Williams, could have taken the lead as lapped, but the Irishman crashed at the Rascasse. At this point, without nobody even realizing due to the confusion, Patrese, having managed to restart the engine, is the only one to crush the finish line at full distance and wins the race, ahead of Pironi and the Cesaris. The situation is very open. Prost 18, Watson 17, Pironi 16, Rosberg 14, Patrese 13, Lauda 12, Alboreto 10. We're back in the United States, where Renault get the 5th pole thanks to Prost. The Cesaris, second, immediately breaks the drive shaft, while the race is then suspended due to a terrible accident to Patrese. Both Renault suffer from the usual problems, giving way first to Rosberg, then to Watson. With many accidents, especially one by Lauda, who contended victory, it ends with Watson's second win of the season over Cheever and Pironi. For Pironi, things appear to go well. He's still the only Ferrari competing, which will have immense consequences at the end of the year. For him, there is pole in Canada, but everything quickly becomes a tragedy. The Frenchman remains stationary on the grid. Everyone avoids him, except poor Riccardo Paletti, who smashes at full speed and dies due to the fire that develops. The race restarts, and with it also Pironi, who however comes out of the points due to the poor maneuverability of the second car. Piquet returns to winning ways, after he didn't even qualify in the previous race. Second is Patrese, third Watson, who increases the lead at the top of the standings. He is first with 30 points, on Pironi's 20. However, everyone has to deal with the renewed strength of Ferrari, who now have Patrick Tambay as second driver. Piquet overtakes the Renault duo, as usual in the front row, and again suffering double retirement. The Frenchman wins in Holland over Piquet and Rosberg and closes the gap to only 1 point. He continues on a similar trajectory in Great Britain. Rosberg takes pole, but doesn't even start due to a problem. The same fate happens to Patrese, who is consequentially hit by Arnoux. Piquet leapfrogs Lauda and Pironi, but later retires and leaves victory to the Austrian. With Tambay completing the double Ferrari podium, Watson retiring, Prost returning to the point with a meager 6th place for the first time since the initial double win, consistency seems to reward Pironi. In France, there is yet another Renault monopoly, which this time goes all the way to the end. However, the wrong car wins. After 9 consecutive zeros, Arnoux refuses to give up victory to Prost under team orders, finishing in front of Pironi and Tambay. There are only 5 races left. Pironi is firmly in command with 39 points. Watson is still at 30, against 25 for Prost, 24 for Lauda, and 23 for Rosberg. In Germany, however, everything changes again. During free practice on Saturday morning, under a thunderstorm, poleman Pironi crashes into Alain Prost at high speed. The accident is terrible. Pironi has serious fractures, and his Formula 1 career is over. With 5 races left, the World Championship for Ferrari is at risk. However, Tambay, who is the 7th consecutive winner, takes care of it. Piquet in the lead wastes his victory by crashing onto the lapped Salazar. They're all so close, Pironi aside. From Watson to De Angelis 11th, they are in 17 points. Only 4 races left. Can you get to 8 consecutive different winners? Yes. Tambay, who could fight for the World Championship despite having raced half of the season, has a puncture in the early stages and only manages 4th. Patrese and Piquet both retire, as does Prost shortly after. De Angelis and Rosberg are fighting for victory, with the Italian coming on top by 50 thousandths of a second. But for Rosberg, they are 6 big points. Watson fails to score for the 5th consecutive time, and Pironi is now only 3 points away. At the Swiss GP, Tambay has to sit out due to an injury, and basically abandons any hope of giving the title to Ferrari, provided anyone outscores Pironi in the championship. And the lead is taken, almost as always, by Arnoux and Prost. The first one breaks the engine, the second one is cleared in the last laps by Rosberg, who wins and takes the lead of the championship. For the 3rd consecutive time, there is a new winner. There are 2 races left, and with this victory, Rosberg has 11 points over his direct rivals, although only 3 over Pironi, who is out of the game. The penultimate round is in Monza. Surprisingly, Pironi's replacement Andretti takes pole. Tambay is also back, fighting for victory, but managing 2nd. Arnoux wins, but the retirements of Prost and Lauda put everything in Rosberg's favour. Only Watson's 4th place keeps the game open, but it's an almost impossible situation. Out of nowhere, Keke Rosberg has the World Championship in his hand. Watson must win and hope that Rosberg doesn't score. The race is in Las Vegas and is actually the perfect city for a lottery result. Prost keeps the lead over Arnoux. Watson is only 9th in qualifying, but makes a good comeback and soon takes advantage of overtakes and retirements, putting himself in a podium position. Patrese, Arnoux, Piquet and Andretti are out. At this point, Rosberg moves up to 5th and races towards victory. Watson is 2nd at last due to the problems of Prost, who hands victory to Michele Alboreto. An uncertain year ends, with 11 drivers in 24 points, and at least 18 who stood on the podium. Keke Rosberg wins with 44 points, ahead of Pironi and Watson's 39. Many will inevitably have regrets, starting with the Renaults, who are respectively 4th and 6th despite 10 pole positions. Didier Pironi, despite missing the last 5 races, only loses by 5 points, while Tambay, racing only 6 times, has regrets given the great competitiveness and reliability shown by Ferrari, who win the Constructors' title. Tambay will record a points average of 4.1, much higher than Rosberg's 2.75 and even than Pironi's 3.9. It is a tragic year, forever remembered for the losses of Villeneuve and Paletti, plus the terrible accident of Pironi. Perhaps one of the most balanced, uncertain seasons. It will be KK's only career title, which also sets a negative record for a world champion. There was, in fact, only one victory during the season, but that was enough. Keke Rosberg, 1982 world champion.